Surprise, shawty!
Wow, 2 videos within a month? Who is she? Oh my god. Don't expect this. I'm trying my best. Truth be told, I was a little torn on whether I wanted to upload this or hold off since I'll only have 2 nations left before I awkwardly have to wait until Natland's done and the Traveler quest comes out. But I realized 2 things. The first thing is I can always shove the Traveler quest into my Snezhnaya video or do a separate video for it when it comes out. The second thing is I can also always just do videos with this account completing exploration or other quests. It's not like this account will just be frozen in time waiting for Snezhnaya release. No pun intended. Everybody wins. With that all said, let's get into the video. We last left off at the end of We Will Be Reunited with the discovery that our twin is the Abyss Order leader that Kaya mentioned to us at the end of Mondstadt. With more questions than answers, we decided to put that on the back burner and focus on our main objective, traveling to Inazuma. Except, it's not as simple as just walking across the border like we did from Mondstadt to Liyue. We have to find a boat willing to take us there. Also, before anyone asks, what about the Jade Chamber Rising quest? It's not required for any Archon quests that I know of, so I'm just not doing it. I'll save it for a future video when we're waiting for Snezhnaya. After hitting AR-30 and Dragonspine, we return to Liyue and ask around the harbor. Our options appear to be swim there, take a boat and try to get there ourselves, or go find Beidou and see if the Crux will take us there. Off to Guyanstone Forest we go. Why is that one so much bigger than I am? We make it on board the Alcor and promptly get told to do a bunch of favors. More errands in Liyue. Fabulous. That said, apparently nobody needed help because it just skipped and let me go talk to Beidou. Cool.
You two give off not only the essence of wind and earth, but also of... yes, the stars.
That's suspicious. We agree to participate in the Crux Clash in exchange for a trip to Inazuma if we win, and head to the tournament area to meet our fellow competitors. Uncle Yun is...
oh yeah.
The brothers are definitely neck deep in a probably cult, and...
high achiever by nature.
sounds like an irritating version of Death the Kid. He even has symmetrical hair. We officially sign up for the competition, and after getting our ego inflated a bit, or a lot, it's time to start the fight. Up first is...
The high achiever by nature.
who didn't stand a chance against the likes of the Dullblade. After that, fight, if you would call it that, Beidou uses her golden buzzer to send us straight to the semifinals. After a lovely time skip, it's time for the semifinals. This feels a bit uneven, but somehow with our handy-dandy Dullblade, we come out on top.
I'm sweating all over. It's a good feeling.
Congrats. After our conversation, we went to talk to Beidou and Kazuha to find out more about the final obstacle between us and Inazuma.
I haven't properly introduced myself yet. In the land of Inazuma, I was a wandering samurai.
Yeah, we could tell that from your getup.
Kazuha promises to give us a hint about our final opponent, but only after we show him our elemental abilities. A fair trade, I'd say. Finally, I get to use Arlecchino. And the opponents are Pyroslimes. Yeah, that tracks. We get our cheat code for the final battle, Kazuha shares some Inazuma lore, and we return for the final showdown. Only to find out our opponent is gone, and so is the Masterless Vision. I mean, we didn't really want it anyways. Unfortunately, being
Liyue's traveling hero
means the missing vision has to also be my responsibility. At least Kazuha's wind currents makes it easier to go from area to area. I know that this Fatui agent isn't our problem right now, but we don't get all that many chances to actually fight in Inazuma, so we take every chance we can get. You know, maybe if it didn't shoot us above the wind, we wouldn't have to worry about running out of time.
Porters, they're here! Get them!
Is that Todd Habercorn?
Just as I expected. In which case, please stand back.
I don't know, Kazuha. I think I've got a pretty good handle on them. We track down Faye the Flyer, Kazuha lectures him about his escape methods, and suddenly Mr. Flowers for Words becomes a bit more menacing.
If this is where talking gets me, then forget it!
Yeah, the fight took exactly 5 seconds.
From the moment he stole the vision, I decided to use him for this experiment.
Okay, so why did we have to come help? Kazuha shares his life story with us, and we return to the arena and complete the prologue to Inazuma. We return to Liyue, go talk to Catherine, and meet, Sea Drake?
You used to call me on my cell phone.
And start Act 1 of Inazuma. Back on the Alcor, we go find Beidou and set sail. Nobody asked, but Inazuma still ranks as one of my favorite nations in Teyvat design-wise. It's absolutely beautiful scenery, and despite the fact I was too stupid to solve most of the puzzles for an embarrassing amount of time, I've nearly got to 100% exploration on all the islands on my main account. In hindsight, I might have burned myself out with that, which is what caused me to stop playing for a while during Sumeru, but can't do anything about that now. Arriving in Inazuma, we meet everyone's favorite male wife, the one and only Toma.
But if he tries to pull any moves on you...
He can pull any moves he wants on... Never mind. We get checked in with border control, and now it's time to go apply for the Outlanders Affairs Agency.
That's not how you haggle!
Shh, Paimon. Let him do his thing. Toma, in true ladies' man fashion, gets us checked in for free. Well, free for us, and in exchange, we get put in charge of fixing problems for the association. I guess that's worth saving 4 million Mora. Kurisu explains some sort of tax scam or something. I don't know how taxes work. I'm American. We don't learn that. We try to use some good old Fatui tactics on the vendor, but after consulting Toma, we decide the best tactic is actually to guilt trip the vendor by reminding him of everyone's favorite sound.
Cheap and tasty chop suey!
Leah Harbor.
I suppose emotional manipulation is probably a Fatui tactic too. And now it's time to sneak around.
It's too close! It's too close! He'll notice us for sure!
What do you mean, Paimon? I'm just buying some street food. Right, Ryoko?
Ah, Ryoko, how's business?
All the better thanks to your generous patronage.
Our first major task in Inazuma is completed in the first try, and I'm absolutely certain that it will be how it is for the entire video.
How you embezzled crystal marrow to sell it right back to the taxpayers!
How does Paimon know the word embezzle, but didn't know the word prototype? Toma reveals his identity, which would have been nice to know earlier. He was apparently playing 4D chess to make sure we help save Inazuma, but unfortunately for him, we just spent an unholy amount of time running errands for another nation to gain pretty much nothing. So, to say we're not in the mood puts it lightly. After Toma leaves, we activate our lady killer powers and get invited to a meeting under the moonlight with the daughter of the Kanjo commissioner. I mean, Toma is cool, but a renowned hero who can also pull off a crop top? It's no wonder we caught her eye.
I should like to ask for your help with delivering a letter.
Rejected. With our ticket off Rito and a letter we will never deliver, it's time to defend the transport balloon and get to Narukami Island. Take it all in, everyone. This is one of 3 total times we get to see Arlecchino fight in the entirety of Act 1, which, to be fair, is the same amount of time we fought during Liyue Act 2, so I guess it could have been worse. However, since we see so little of Arlecchino in this act, I'm just gonna paste her head on Aether's body for the remainder of this video. Of the 4 solo runs I've recorded so far, the 4th one being the one you'll see in my next video, each one has had an ability to assist with exploration, except Arlecchino. Back on track, we make it to Inazuma City, do some totally necessary shopping, meet Inazuma Catherine, and head to Komori Tea House.
So you didn't see anything like this when you were in Liyue Harbor?
Ah, now that you mention it, this does suddenly seem less out of the ordinary.
So true, floating fairy child. After we get pranked by Toma, we head over to the statue of the omnipresent god, but not before I take my payment from the Yashiro Commission in the form of their, bugs and raw meat. Was there ever an explanation for who this statue is actually supposed to resemble? I mean, there's obviously not much resemblance to the Raiden Shogun in a few ways. I googled it, and while there wasn't really a clear answer, I did see this fun fact. Apparently, the distance between sitting in Venti's hand in Mondstadt and sitting in this statue's hands is exactly 6,666 meters. I don't know who figured that out, but perhaps they need to touch some grass. Couldn't be me. Anyways, now it's time to head to the Kamisato estate, so let's enjoy a little bit of exploration with a full-body Arlecchino. After all, she is the star of this challenge. You know, when Inazuma first came out, I stayed up all night playing the entirety of what was released in 2.0 so I could avoid spoilers. And looking back, I must have been just completely blinded by pretty trees and foxes, and Kokomi, because genuinely doing this again felt so long. How did I speedrun this back then? These guys are so goofy, I love them so much. After lighting the forest on fire, we finally make it to the Kamisato estate and get to meet Ayaka. Sort of. Ayaka agrees to introduce us to the Raiden Shogun so long as we go meet some NPCs who lost their visions. Well, I suppose that's easier than leading a rebellion or something. Fair enough. We make our way back to Konda village and learn about Tejima, a wandering warrior who has resided in and protected the village for the last 30 years. However, after his vision was seized, he couldn't remember the reason he remained there all this time. I don't really know why convincing him to stay would make any difference in his life, but what Ayaka wants, Ayaka gets, I guess.
Oh, maybe if you just try a little harder to remember.
Wow, what would we do without you, Paimon? We track down Tejima's diary, head to the conveniently located shrine 10 feet away, and after finding more clues with Elemental Sight, we come to the conclusion that Tejima has been stood up for the last 30 years. That's rough. With Tejima convinced to keep waiting for this mystery girl, we decide to mark Mission 1 as a success and head to find the next person. This time we meet Kurosawa, a Kanjo Commission samurai who had his vision confiscated. It's very much giving that leopards eating face meme. We're directed to find Kurosawa's house to hopefully find some more information and head down to the beach to find a shack? I don't even think that place is big enough for Paimon to sleep, let alone a giant samurai. Anyways, it's time for the second of 3 fights Arlecchino gets to participate in Act 2. And it took about as long as you'd expect. We did get a really satisfying cutback to the story, though. Back in Inazuma City, we talked to Aoi at the general goods store, and she explains all the IOUs we found in Kurosawa's, house. For a fee, of course. I'll be sure to have Pantaloon reimburse us. We return to Kurosawa, tell him about the IOUs and what we learned from Aoi. I don't know if this helped him much, but I guess we can mark this mission as a success too. Finally, it's time to go meet the 3rd victim of the Vision Hunt decree. For this one, we get to meet Junya and Nanako. Honestly, all I have to say here is, oh my god, there is so much dialogue.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad!
With this victim, we're invited to attend an exorcism. That's, new. Before the exorcism can start, we chase after some guy who did a pretty awful job of being sneaky, and that's coming from us.
According to Miss Kamisato, the second one who lost their vision is a samurai.
Paimon, what are you talking about? We catch up to the stranger, he talks our ear off about Domon, and then tells us that because of our chat, we missed the whole exorcism. Now I just feel duped. Back at the dojo, it turns out the exorcism did absolutely nothing. But we did get invited to go meet Yoimiya, so this is probably the most useful of the 3 former vision bearers that we've met so far. On our way to the Grand Narukami Shrine, I stop for any and all Onikabuto beetles I see. Do I need them in this run? No. Am I conditioned from the nightmare that it was farming them for Heizo and Ito? Yes. We make it to the shrine, and now it's time to meet my fellow pink-haired fox. So, like, what was the point of this random foot shot? The stranger from earlier shows up, convinces Domon to, well, get a grip, and our 3rd task for Ayaka is complete. Returning to the Kamisato estate, we actually get to see Ayaka face to face. Oh my god, wait, can you guys see that? Is that a cryo vision? Wow, did you guys know they had cryo characters in this game? Anyways, we tell Ayaka and Toma their 4D chess has finally worked on us because we're not monsters, and being forced to actually see the Vision Hunt decree firsthand did actually convince us to aid in the rebellion. Well, Ayaka talks to us for nearly 10 minutes straight, and yes, I do mean 10 minutes. I'm definitely understanding why so many people skip most of Act 1 in their playthroughs. It took me 2 full days to write this part of the script because it was very much towing the line between recapping the Archon quest versus, girl, please shut up, we just want to see Arlecchino, which is a super valid complaint. If you're still watching, first of all, thank you, but second of all, let me know if you would rather have shorter videos where it's just Arlecchino, kind of like I did with Mualani, or these long videos where it's both a recap and Arlecchino. Finally released from Storytime with Ayaka, we head to the Naganohara family fireworks shop to find someone willing to help us engage in a prison break, which is a crazy first task for us, but what do I know? At Naganohara Fireworks, we find ourselves witnessing the Vision Hunt decree in progress, or so we thought. Having found Yoimiya, it's time for the prison break. Finally, Arlecchino gets to actually participate again. There was a big part of me who wanted to just savor these fights, knowing how long it's been, but with Arlecchino, it's actually more of a hassle trying to hold back. You know, it's amazing how much improvement in fighting I've seen now that I actually know how her kit works. Shocking, truly.
Teach me a lesson.
Wait, what? After taking my sweet time savoring my opportunity to battle with Arlecchino and falling victim to every single trap along the way, we collect all 3 amulets and can open the big door.
Shh! Quick! Hide! Look over there. That must be Master Masakatsu.
Oh no! Those Tenryou Commission brutes are torturing him!
Where did you come from?
Huh? Yoimiya? When did you get back here?
Oh, okay, so it wasn't just me confused.
Sorry!
Yoimiya distracts the guards and we're able to escape with Master Matsukatsu. Well, with the help of Kujo-Sara. I'm sure she totally won't regret that choice in the very near future. With a successful prison break added to our resume, we return to the Komori tea house where Toma decides to repeatedly put his foot in his mouth, among other things. Act 1 is complete, finally. But there's no rest for the weary as we are immediately dragged into Ayaka's story quest. Cool.
Oh, we don't mind. We don't mind at all. Do we?
To make a very long story quest a little bit shorter, Ayaka invites us to run some errands with her and swears there's a reason we need to go with her. I guess we have nothing better to do, so we head to Rito for some fabric because the fabric store is apparently out, and find out from Kurisu that his textiles were stolen. This guy really can't catch a break, huh? We track down the suspects, avoiding the beach because I never actually got my travel permit, and meet alternate universe Bakugo who is behind their robbery.
Why wouldn't I, old man? Answer me this. You're one of those Outlander merchants, right?
We quite literally fight fire with fire, but obviously I win, as always. After dropping off the textiles, now it's time to introduce Ayaka to the cultures of the nations we've traveled to previously. What should we make for her? Maybe some
cheap and tasty chop suey!
Or maybe old reliable sweet madame.
Pizza!
What?
Pizza. we make pizza. That's certainly a gift. With our gifts ready, we head to find Tsubaki.
Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza absolutely.
We wrap up Ayaka's story quest by accompanying her at this festival with our cute little masks, sorry Paimon, and see her ruin a perfectly good pair of shoes. As she sloshes back to the Kamisato estate, we opt to head back to the city to find Yoimiya. After approaching some kids who clearly never learned about stranger danger, we show them the consequences by ruining their childhood and telling them their parents are liars. Unfortunately for us, Yoimiya is apparently in on this too. Everybody's a critic. After we talk to Yoimiya for 3.5 minutes, we're invited to join her to going back to her fireworks shop, and she talks to us for the entire time too. Full-time fireworks maker with a side hustle and yapping. We walk all the way back to the fireworks shop without teleporting before Yoimiya even finishes speaking, which we quickly find out apparently runs in the family. Also, don't get me wrong, I love Yoimiya. I find her really fun to play with, and I absolutely adore her design. She just talks a lot, and it's tiresome when a lot of it doesn't really add to the plot of Inazuma, but we have to do it anyways. Since 85% of Yoimiya's story quest is her talking to us, I'll summarize the parts excluded from that. We meet Sakajiro, a stowaway hiding from the Tenryou Commission in the fireworks shop. The primary objective of the story quest is to help him escape Inazuma, all while Yoimiya is also preparing for a fireworks show. Yoimiya brings us to meet Koichi, who's in charge of the boat for Sakajiro. He shares that he's working on bringing the boat nearby, so while he handles that, we go look for the firework materials. Our search introduces us to Morihiko, and is it just me, or do all the men have mustaches? He gives us the firework materials we need, and I think some regret is starting to be felt for agreeing to help Yoimiya. While the blacksmith processes the firework materials, we return to find Koichi again. The boat looks good, I guess. I don't really know about boats. So we return to the fireworks shop to find Sakajiro, who is apparently chickening out now, after everything we did. We head to Konda Village to find the elderly couple, who apparently is not the same elderly couple we met in Act 1. Could have fooled me. After cleaning up some weeds, because scythes are the best for weeding, we're told to go find... Wait, what was his name? Satoru. As it turns out, the elderly couple's son, Keisuke, was Sakajiro's childhood friend, and the primary reason he came back to Inazuma. He's also the one now insistent on rescuing Sakajiro. After finally getting a chance to fight, we beat up the Tenryou Commission officers, defeat Keisuke, and make them confront their feelings. Truly, my favorite brand of story. A story that could have been avoided if the two childhood friends were actually open with their feelings. No wonder that guy from earlier was named Satoru. We join Yoimiya and watch the fireworks show and finish her story quest.
Can we get back to politics, please?
Starting Act 2, we go back to the tea house to find out from Ayaka that Tomo was taken for the Vision Hunt decree. I mean, yeah, he walks around with it just chilling on his hip, not exactly very stealthy. I'm kind of surprised they took him this long. At the statue of the omnipresent god, it's time for the iconic cutscene in our first battle with the Raiden Shogun.
You will be inlaid upon this statue.
Okay, so confession time. I didn't watch any playthroughs ahead of this run far enough into Inazuma to know what I was getting into. I didn't realize we didn't actually have to beat her outright, so I just blindly charged in and got my rocked. Real bad. I didn't even last long enough for her to lock my skill and burst. Luckily, I held out enough to trigger the cutscene and move on. A win's a win. Toma rescues us and we escape to the tea house, where we're told to head to Tatarasuna to find the resistance. We not so sneakily get some information and find our way to the resistance. You guys think I can get that without being noticed by the enemies? Yeah, I didn't think I would either. After that odd fight, it's time to get back to business. We rescue Tepe, and now it's time to head over to make our introductions to the Resistance Force. On our way there, I came across a spot that was just being absolutely annihilated by lightning. So, as one does, I had to try and look cool, which I totally did, until...
Fear not. What's a little thunder when even lightning wouldn't dare strike our path?
Anyways, let's get back on track and head to the Resistance camp. There he is! There's the boy! We finally meet Goro, and after being officially accepted into the Resistance, we help at the field hospital, fend off the Shogunate army, repair a fence, and the archery demonstration. Luckily for us, Arlecchino remembered her archery skills from the first episode, but unlucky for us, the lightning had it out for us. With everything done, it's time to head to the front lines. After Goro rejects Kucho-Sara's deal to turn us in, we accept her challenge for a fight of honor. That said, the cutscenes to introduce each round took more time than any of the battles.
The Shogun's army is not invincible! We can win! The soldiers...
After listening to an absolutely terrible battle cry choir...
Her everlasting reign!
Prepare to engage!
The cutscene begins. I can't even put into words how much I loved this cutscene when Inazuma first came out. At the time, I thought this was absolutely peak. I also have been a day one Kokomi lover, so of course I might have been a little biased. Obviously, now with the war in Natlan, Inazuma can feel a little underwhelming, but for me, I still really enjoy it. With Kokomi, Kazuha, and Beto's arrival, we defeat the shogunate forces, introduce ourselves officially to the queen herself, and finish Act 2. Why was Act 1 40 years long and Act 2 is just so short? We go meet with Teppei and start Act 3. I love how they super heavily utilized auto-teleporting within the story, but then with this, it's just, nope, take Wave Rider and get there yourself. After singing some sea shanties with Teppei and getting struck by lightning repeatedly, we make it to Watatsumi Island. This is absolutely one of my favorite locations in the entirety of Teyvat.
So are you the new recruit everyone's been talking about? Strength of 20 men, splits an arrow in twain from 100 paces, skin as hard as diamond. That's you?
Yes. We meet with Kokomi and find out the Resistance has been gifted supplies from a mystery supporter. I'm sure that won't have dire consequences in the near future or anything. Kokomi appoints us as the captain of Swordfish 2 and we head to rendezvous with our unit. To prove ourselves to the rest of the squad, we take out the nearby Ronin with ease.
The rumors are exaggerations, of course.
Did you not just see me fight? With our new title of captain, we lead by example and clear out the other enemy strongholds. Kokomi's side-by-side with Arlecchino is very much giving that meme of the two houses. After updating Kokomi on Swordfish 2's successful mission, we find out that we were apparently supposed to be getting paid. I guess I missed that pay period. We're tasked with investigating some ruins east of Watatsumi Island. Not wanting to leave without making sure Teppei actually survived the front lines, we wait around for a while and discover he not only survived, but apparently leveled up and got a promotion? Actually, besides all that, has he gotten older? I'm sure I'm just imagining it. Wow, that place the camera pans to. I'm sure it has no significant meaning or anything, right? Having checked in with Teppei, it's time for us to go handle our mission for Kokomi.
Fear not. What's a little thunder when even lightning wouldn't dare strike our path?
Oh, okay, cool. Alright, I'll just go die, I guess. We finally make it to the ruins, and my huge brain makes me think I can get the lightning to strike me and trigger the Electro Monuments. Unfortunately, my brain is not in fact big from knowledge, but actually just swollen from getting hit by lightning so many times. Luckily though, I still have my Electro Delusion from episode 1, and I use that to trigger the monuments. The rain works to our advantage, and we serve up some freshly steamed lard churl. Oh sure, now there's plenty of lightning strikes. Teppei shows up to flex his new hair, and a nasty cough. Here, you can have my extra mask. Teppei explains the story of the giant snake corpse we were kind of just ignoring, and managing to avoid getting struck by lightning the entire time, we return to Watatsumi Island to update Kokomi on our findings. Or, well, lack of findings.
I can't believe that it's finally me and you and me, just us and your friend Steve.
When we arrive, we find Goro with Kokomi, who tells us about some soldiers equipped with new mystery weapons that have started showing signs of accelerated aging.
Oh dear!
Wow, where did they get one of my delusions? Also, those can age us? Maybe I should stop using mine as often. Suddenly, Paimon reminds me of who we know who's suddenly showing aging. We go look for the old man and find him a little worse for wear.
This is a real shame. There I was, thinking I was catching up with you. Guess I didn't receive the favor of the gods after all.
I gotta say, his voice actor did really great with this scene. If I'm being honest, when this quest first came out, I remember people saying how emotional they got over Teppei's death. I was kind of surprised because I more or less was just kind of like, oh, okay, bummer, I guess. That's not to say I'm heartless or anything. I've cried more than a few times over the stories in this game, and I also haven't even done Act 3 and 4 of the Natlan Archon quest because I need to be in the right emotional headspace. In my opinion, we rushed through both getting to connect with Teppei and his eventual death, so it really didn't feel as impactful to me as it obviously was to the Traveler. Teppei loses consciousness, or dies, I don't know, and after we sit with him for a while, we go find Kokomi and Goro again.
Sadly, a few have been less fortunate.
Yeah, we noticed. We opt to go search for the Delusion Factory, and do you know what that means?
I'm on my way! I'm on my way! I've got my lungs and that's a start, and I've got love inside my heart. I'm on my way! I may be tidy and alone, but I won't stop until I'm home.
You would think as a Harbinger, I'd have no problem entering the Delusion Factory. However, I have to conceal my identity to prevent my mission from being discovered, obviously. So I enter the old-fashioned style, brute forcing it and beating up every Vatui agent along the way. I feel like it's worth noting that despite Paimon point-blank saying it, this and the Crystal Marrow situation over in Rito only clicked while I was editing. That's sad. We collect the 3 amulets, open the door, and wait, where is he? We take out the Fatui agents defending the room and trigger the cutscene. It's time!
I'm the Balladeer. Number 6 of the Fatui Harbingers. Delighted to meet you, oh mighty traveler.
It's the boy!
You're getting all worked up over nothing. Didn't have you down as being so weak.
The chokehold this voice line has over me all these years later needs to be studied, I fear. Yoimiya drags us away from Scaramouche, against our will, I might add. She gives us some important information about the Raiden Shogun and invites us to join her for anti-Raiden Shogun training. Alright, let's get this over with. To be fair, I don't think any amount of training will make me magically better at beating her. I don't even like fighting her weekly boss on my main account, and that is with a full team. We start the anti-Raiden Shogun training, in easy mode, obviously, and immediately get hit. Good start. This is not going well for me. Luckily, I managed to avoid getting hit 10 times. Barely, and complete the training on the first try. Honestly, kinda shocked. We crawl back to Yoimiya, possessing enough electricity to power a small town, and she tells us there's a round 2.
There's a part 2?
My thoughts exactly, Paimon. Yeah, of course it's Pyro Slimes. Once we beat the Pyro Slimes, it's substantially easier to finish the rest of Phase 2, and I start praying with every fiber of my being that there is no Phase 3. Please.
You don't have to be so blunt. The Traveler's the captain of Swordfish too, you know.
Of all of our accomplishments, that's what you choose? Really? We have a lurker in the background, so we return to the shrine to discuss the plan. Unfortunately, Yoimiya's plans consist of convincing Kujo-Sara that the clan she's been raised in her entire life has betrayed her #1 favorite person. That, is definitely easier said than done.
Is that all in hand and good to go? Or...
Why are you always asking so many questions?
Finally someone said it. We're given the task of collecting evidence of the Tenryo Commission's betrayal, and Yoimiya says she'll introduce us to the professional, whatever that means.
If I don't get enough sleep, it'll stunt my growth.
I'm sorry to say, but I think that ship has sailed. We're told to reach out to the Ashura Commission with Sayu in order to find evidence, so back to the tea house we go. After we give a TLDR to Ayaka and Toma, we figure out what we need to prove the betrayal to Kujo-Sara, and it's time to get the plan of action started. After we eat, of course. We find Yoimiya to get a firework that'll distract the guards, wait until nightfall, and find out the consequences of not getting my travel permit. Not really sure how I'm supposed to give a letter to him when I'm a wanted fugitive, but we'll see how it goes. Oh, that worked better than I expected. Unfortunately, by the time we finish enough of that quest to return to the Archon quest, it's now morning. More waiting, I guess. Alright, it's for real, finally nightfall, so it's time to lay down our trap. After setting the fireworks off, it's time to make our escape. Unfortunately, I completely missed the wind currents, and have to escape on foot.
Run.
Our escape was successful, somehow, so now we just have to wait around and hope Sayu is also successful. Luckily, Sayu was able to swipe a bunch of documents, giving us plenty of evidence for Yoimiya and Kujo-Sara. Back to the shrine we go. Evidence in hand, we make our case to Kujo-Sara, just hoping she doesn't question how we got the evidence. After reading our letters, she angrily runs off, so I guess our plan worked? An omamori from Yoimiya in hand, we catch up with Kujo-Sara and follow her inside the Tenryo Commission headquarters. Time for the final battles to begin. Before we can meet with the head of the Kujo clan, we have to defeat 3 rounds of soldiers. Luckily for us, Arlecchino is just as great in mob fights as she is with individual enemies, so it went pretty smoothly for us. The first and second rounds were just mobs of soldiers, and the third round was just an internal affairs head who could summon more soldiers to ambush us. Again, it was really just a matter of whittling down the HP.
The Fatui may think they are using me, but the reverse is true.
Yeah, that's definitely not how it works, my guy.
If he thinks the Kujo clan is a match for the Fatui, Paimon thinks he's in for a nasty surprise.
At least Paimon gets it.
The Shogun is at Tenshukaku receiving a Snezhnayan diplomat, a harbinger by the name of Signora.
How is it that there are 11 Fatui Harbingers, but somehow Signora is the one who's been meddling in 3 of the 7 nations? I'm sure she'll get a nice long rest after this. We chase after Kujo-Sara and find a whole bunch of soldiers injured along the way. Who could have done this? As we near the top, we find the culprit, standing in the corner, surrounded by bodies. This cat. It escapes when we try to catch it, so I guess we'll just save that for later. Sitting on the job, really? People these days. We enter Tenchikaku, and it's finally time for our duel before the throne. The 8th of the Fatui Harbingers, Signora, versus the 4th of the Fatui Harbingers, Arlecchino. Now, I must make a few things explicitly clear here. I don't even particularly like doing this Trounce domain on my main account, so I was far from thrilled when taking it on with a solo account. Not to mention, her second, more powerful phase is Pyro, so not only will I be at a type disadvantage, but I'll be battling an enemy that constantly dwindles your HP, and I can only heal using my burst. Finally, I must remind everyone that the key part of this challenge, and all my challenge videos, I am very bad at Genshin Impact. As much as these challenges are a way to do fun, outlandish playthroughs, it's also a way for you, dear viewer, to watch me play and think, wow, at least I'm not that bad at Genshin Impact. With that disclaimer out of the way,
I challenge you to a duel before the throne!
Then I will deign to share this last dance with you. Till death do us part!
now, obviously the first phase of this fight isn't exactly a problem. Cryo is weak to Pyro after all. We know this. The problem came in two parts. The first was me coming into this overconfident from previous boss battles, and mentally ignoring the first Raiden battle, and wanting to put on a show for my video instead of just focusing on winning. For example, instead of using the Crimson Lotus Moth to quickly shatter her ice, cocoon, I chipped away at it with my own attacks, and chipped away at my own HP at the same time. Unable to gain much energy recharge to trigger my burst, all I could really do was try to slowly wear down her HP, failing kinda like a guy attempting to cut down a centuries-old tree with the handheld axe. I also made the critical error of shattering whatever these things are called instead of just standing next to them, since they, you know, respawn very slowly. Despite my best efforts and some god tier level timing for my burst, I was still defeated. As it turns out, if you lose, you can lower the difficulty. I don't know when this was added, but obviously I didn't utilize it because why would I ever make things easier for myself? Unfortunately, in order to restart the challenge, we have to rewatch the entire cutscene of Signora and the Raiden Shogun. Fantastic. This time I decided to try and use some boosting foods and hope for the best. I went the smart route this round and utilized the Crimson Lotus Moths. However, I did not learn from my previous mistakes of destroying... what are these even called anyways? Not that it matters. However, because of that, I lost. Again. I actually don't remember if I lowered the difficulty or not this time. I'm just gonna assume I did. Third time was in fact the charm, and a combination of rage and, honestly, luck meant I finally beat her second phase. Despite her being a fellow Harbinger, it was incredibly satisfying to finally defeat her in this battle. After all, there can only be one true ruler of the flames and the Harbingers.
Filthy rats! All of you!
Remember when we thought this was going to be the darkest Genshin would get? Yeah. In hindsight, I have one question about this. Did we ever get a clear explanation of what was happening to the Traveler as we leave Tenchikaku? Paimon made it clear it wasn't just us feeling all of this, but it was also only us getting headaches. We make it out of Tenchikaku, and it's time for my absolute favorite cutscene in all of Inazuma.
There will always be those who dare to brave the lightning's glow.
Truly absolute cinema. Successfully inside the plane of Yoimiya, it's time to get answers from A herself.
No one will lose their life on account of having their vision taken away.
Kazuha would like to have a word on that one. Trying to convince A is pretty much like talking to a brick wall, so it's time to, as some may say, let our blades do the talking. Polearms, I guess. Just like last time, I didn't try to look up ahead of time strategy for this battle. I just knew we didn't necessarily have to win because Yoimiya would come to rescue us regardless. That said, despite being level 47, she has an unholy amount of HP. I mean, my god. I have a better time, well, sort of, than I did in our first battle and trigger the cutscene. With the ambition of those who lost their visions behind me, providing a nice buff, it's time to prove A wrong. Considering we've gone nearly this entire video without getting to see much of Arlecchino, I'll give those still watching the full uncut fight. Sit back and enjoy, or cringe at my clear lack of skill. Your choice.
Wanted my full attention, did you? Thunder. This is where
to 3 out of the 4 revives we get, we pull off the win. Why are you looking at me right now? I kind of feel like I'm third wheeling here. Do y'all want me to give you the room? Or, well, plane? A finally remembers that I'm there, and also the entire reason I showed up, and promises to abolish the Vision Hunt Decree. Mission successful. Back in the real world, we meet with Yoimiya and wraps up Act 3 of the Inazuma Archon quest. With the Inazuma complete, we have to head back to Liyue to go to the chasm. But that will not be in this episode. If you made it this far, first of all, I am eternally grateful, but you are in the minority. According to my analytics, only about 20 to 30% of people are still watching by this point. The longer the video goes, the lower that becomes, which is understandable because I also have a short attention span. However, I went through an ungodly amount of suffering with the Chasm quest, so if I had to go through all of that, I want everyone to see it and laugh at said suffering. If you're a channel member, episode 3.5, The Chasm, will be live the Tuesday following this video. If you're not a channel member, the video will be live on Friday. In an ideal world, my next video will be up that following Friday, but I'm trying to get out of the habit of promising a set schedule until I can actually get myself a firm work schedule. If you haven't yet, make sure you like and subscribe and turn on the little bell so you'll be notified when my next video goes up. Until next time!